Hey everybody, Audiophile Barista here. As you can see, today is a grey and rainy day in Rotterdam. This is vlog 130. I am the Audiophile Barista, and in these vlogs I talk about audio, coffee and other things that keep me busy. And today I want to share a few things with you, so let's get into it. For those who are familiar with my channel and my setup, as you can see, some things changed. So let me talk about some things. At first, as you can see, there are some things missing and there are some things added to this rack. Normally over here we have the preamp, up there is normally the turntable. And today those things, at the moment, those things are all over here. As you can see, turntable over there, the 300B Audion over there, and the preamp over there. Now why is this? Well, very simple. You all know that normally that one is right over there, and this is actually the perfect spot for a turntable. It's got a great view to the outside world. It's got a very nice height to work with, but there's one problem. The cable coming from the turntable to the preamp is just a short one. So when it's over here, the preamp needs to be somewhere over here. And then we have a long cable to the power amp. For those who know my channel and who know me, this is something that has been bothering me all the time. So for this week I thought, well, let's just put them all over here. At one time I had the turntable over there as a tryout, but because that is so close to the rack over there, I almost demolished the cartridge one day, so that's not going to happen. Now these two plateaus that are on top of this smaller rack, which are both, this one and the other one, the smaller one, are both my design. Real maple, very heavy, and normally I have these two top plates on top. So I place them over here. They do not, as you can see over here, they do not completely fit. They are a bit too long, and that's not really a problem because the weight is more on the front or still above the other the rack that is below there. Now why this setup? Well, actually very simple. Wait, I had this one to have the other power cable removed from the signal cable. As you can see, it is touching now, but let me show you. This is my Ear Yoshino preamp, and if you look at the connections on the rear, the preamp output is on this side and the turntable input is on this side. So putting the power amp on the side of the preamp means I can just have this cable going straight down, and it means that the cable for the turntable is also on the right side and just goes over there, making it possible to have two short cables from the preamp. So if I'm only playing records, this is a very minimalistic setup. Preamp, power amp, turntable. And then I have from my Denafrips DA converter, which is connected to the CD transport, the Blu-ray and the streamer. And this goes XLR, the purple cable over here, into the amp. So this is something that I'm trying out if I want this. If this sounds better, especially because of the short connection between the preamp and the power amp. In some other experiments, I know I have a preference for a shorter cable between these two, but I'm still left with this turntable over there. Now over here, because that is not where I walk, this could be okay. When it was standing over here, this was just too short, and when I was standing with my back to the turntable trying to adjust the preamp, that was not a good idea. So that's one thing. So if we go back a little bit, over here we have another setup, which is my old Arcam FMJ CD33 CD player. I have this thing a long time and I am the first owner. This is still a very, very good CD player, and I am using it mostly to connect it to this Stax amplifier. Now, why do I have this Stax over here and why is it open? Well, recently, let me sit a little bit closer. Recently I had these capacitors changed. So as you can see, the circle where they are in is much bigger because the previous capacitors were much bigger. And over here you see the two tubes. Now these are new ones, let me tell you about it. And these are the old ones. Interestingly enough, these are the same type, but there were two different tubes in there. Don't know why, but it's always been like that, and I have had this thing maybe for, I don't know, 18 years now, something like that. So it was time for a capacitor change, and it was time to change the tubes. And the next thing that I have to do, that I still have to do, is to find out how to bias these tubes. Over here you see the connectors. So back again, picked up the things that I wanted to show you. So over here you have this connector where you put in your cable. As you can see, this has 1, 2, 3 connectors, so you can connect 3 headphones simultaneously. Over here is the headphone, and if you take your measurement sticks, you just, can I do this with one hand? You have to put them in there and do some measurements, and I went onto the internet trying to find out how to do that, and I'm going to make a separate video for that because it is not anywhere on YouTube, and also it was pretty hard to find out on the internet. So I'm going to make a video of that, and I did put these in. They are working, they are playing. I can turn them up, have a very nice sound, but of course you need to check if this bias is okay. So that's what I'm doing. And down here we have this balanced isolation power controller. That's what I'm using at the moment. One is it has 2 outputs. One is connected to the CD player and one is connected to the Stax. So that is for another video. What tubes did I pick? Well, these are 6CG7 tubes from Electro Harmonix, and not a common tube, but I found some, and these are now warming up in there. So what else is going on? Well, we go over here, 2 boxes. Let's start with this one. This is from Oyaide, a set of banana plugs SRBN, and I already had a set of these. Can I open this with one hand? Come on. And open it up. And then it has some more protection. It's quite a nice box, and then those 4 are in here when you buy them. And these go over here, as you can see. These are the wonderful Oyaide banana plugs, and I like these because they have a very good grip. They are in here very solid, and I had 4 of them, so I had 2 in this loudspeaker, and then of course 2 in this loudspeaker. But on the other side of this loudspeaker cable I had all kind of different plugs, and I didn't want that anymore, so I found secondhand another set, and these are now here, having a nice place inside the Audion Silver Night version, and I'm very happy with that. So this is now a complete Oyaide loudspeaker cable. The cable and the plugs are from Oyaide. So let's go to the other box. This one over here, this is from iFi, the Silent Power, and this is a linear power supply. And the reason I got this is because in the system I think power is important, and I have the regenerator and all kind of other stuff to make sure that I get the best power available for all my equipment. But one of the things that was still bothering me is some of these switching power supplies. So I started with upgrading that, and this is the first one, iFi. And if we open the box, this also secondhand I picked up, and it was in pristine condition. This is very complete. Over here you see all the different kind of connectors for different kind of power supplies, and an adapter to go onto the current connector, and I didn't have to use any of these. This thing just went into, where did I use it? Well, down here you can see that black box over there. That is an Ethernet hub, and of course the streamer needs Ethernet, and the Oppo, the Blu-ray player, but also the next Netflix player needs Ethernet. And then there is also a media server that has a switching power supply that I want to change for a linear power supply. So over here you can see this is the iFi, and I gotta say, the moment that I plugged it in, immediately the sound became better. Now, it's always impossible to describe differences, but more organic, more relaxed, less digital sounding, that is what I would describe it as. Immediately it worked. So this is the first one, but I have another one over there that I'm going to change. That one is powering this little box, which turns the HDMI signal from the Oppo into an Ethernet connection, and that goes about 15 meters around the room towards the projector, and there it has a same box turning it back into an HDMI signal to feed the projector. And lastly, for something completely different, there are also some things that I sold. Now, I cannot show you them over here because they are sold, but I'll do this in post. I'll edit it in and do a voiceover to show you guys what I have been selling. And the reason I have been selling stuff is because I want to generate funds for new projects. And as I already told you, I did pick up some new Stax gear that can be arriving any day now, and well, I will show you that in another video. So let's go to voiceover. So one thing that I sold was the KEF IQ5 loudspeaker set that I inherited, so it was a bit strange to sell them, but these don't really have a place in my setup. Now, I have small, cheap bookshelf loudspeakers that I like. I have big, expensive speakers that I like. I have a whole range in between that, just because it's a hobby. And the kefs really did not fit anywhere in there. They are just, for me, they are just not good enough. They did not really play well with most of my equipment, so I sold them. Now the second thing that I sold was the Rega Saturn CD player. Now I was a bit sad to let it go because this thing looks absolutely stunning, but I am not really in need of another CD player. Actually, I have a Sony CD player, I have a Nakamichi CD player, I have a Quad CD player, I have two Marantz CD players, I have the Audiolab CD Transport, I have the Neucom CD player, and you just in the vlog you just saw the Arcam CD player. So there's no need to really have this thing in the house. I'm trying to sell a lot of stuff, most of it nobody reacts to it, but this thing was gone in like a day, so that was good. But well, you know, if I had unlimited money I would have never sold it, but well, there you go, it's gone. And then there's some other things that I sold, mostly because I am not using it, and that is this Fubar 4 headphone DAC, a Musical Fidelity V-DAC, and a Graham Slay headphone amp. So let's go back to the vlog. And so we come to the end of this vlog. Now before I go, some things I would like to say. Lately I've not been posting a lot of videos, not been reacting to your comments. Now mainly because work and some private things got in the way. But there is a lot of things lined up. And one of the first things, maybe next week, is going to be a crazy room tour from a tiny house that is so filled up with stuff that there is hardly any place to walk around, let alone to put a system in. But I managed to put in 4 loudspeakers, and actually the sound is pretty incredible. So that is coming up. I have a video about the changes that I made to my system, a video coming up about cable management, the video for the stacks, so a lot of things coming up. So bear with me, stay with me, and today is Friday. I hope you liked this vlog, and I will see you in the next one.